What we are doing in Nigeria is a lot of people are taking risks. And in business, yes, they say, don't fear, take risks so that you grow. But you don't see the risks there and you jump into it. Say you have been told to take risks. It's when it is unimaginable. You don't imagine it. You don't foresee it. But these days, I pity people who are doing any type of business in Nigeria. Is it, if you rely on energy, I think in one of the stations I was privileged to appear, one of the broadcast media, I was, the MD was, we were discussing informally. He was telling me, he said, Louis, to run this business is no longer fun. What is he spends on diesel alone on weekly basis, on weekly basis, can pay his staff, all of them. So imagine that kind of, what kind of business are you running? Are you running a charity home? Apart from the issue of technology, energy, that government agents, you see somebody, a woman who is selling mango, fruits, they will come, you see another person standing, a man, once it is 10, Madam Wotego, that's Madam, bring money. What for? Some of them are agents of government. Some of them are friends of government, touts, used in the election. So they can look elsewhere. Security operatives will look elsewhere when you are undermining somebody's interest. So I wonder, when people do business, it's like, in Nigeria today, it's like, well, we have come out, we have started, there's nothing we can do.
Apologies for the break in transmission, and if you're just joining us, this is still New Day on Signature Television. So this morning we're talking about guidance and counseling. Well, guidance and counseling plays a lot of crucial roles in shaping an individual's academic, personal, of course, and career growth, but it's often neglected in our educational system. So today we'll be talking about the role or the parts of guidance and counseling in the Nigerian educational system. And joining us this morning is Professor Antonia Onwora. Take that again, Professor Antonia Onwora. She'll be joining us this morning. And Professor Antonia is the Director, Counseling and Human Department Center, ESUT, Agbani, ENUGU. Good morning, Professor, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, so before we went on air, we're having a bit of a conversation, and you were, telling me a lot of things that I didn't know, before now. So in a very simple way, could you explain what guidance and counseling means before we can go into, the meat of the matter? What exactly is guidance and counseling?
Thank you. Guidance and counseling, it's a service, an educational service that professional counselors render to the entire community, not just to students.
Okay.
Yeah, these are services that we render to the students, their parents, their siblings, their friends, their teachers, all significant others in their lives. They are welcome, because you cannot extract the students from those people that they actually...
From the community.
Yes, from the community. They are welcome. But within the school system, most people know that guidance counselors are there. And the guidance counselors help to shape and assist the students in the challenges they meet in their growth process, in the educational process. Like, we have three major aspects.
Okay.
The educational guidance, we have the vocational guidance, then we have personal social guidance. Within these three aspects of guidance, we have lots and lots of services. Like, within educational guidance, we have the orientation service that most of us are used to within school system. When a child comes in, he needs to be oriented for him to know where he is,
yes,
whom to go to, what to do when he has one or two questions to ask. And that's the counselor for him there.
We're talking about the educational branch of guidance and counseling.
Then, as the child goes on educationally within school, academically,
yes,
he might face one or two challenges. For instance, he might find it difficult to draw up his private timetable, apart from that which the school offers. then it is the duty of the guidance counselor to assist him in this regard. You make the timetable for the child, private timetable, and you follow the child up. That's what we call the follow-up service. Occasionally, the child might find it difficult to study. Like some of us, we say when we bring our books and we are studying, we want to read. Instead of reading, you see us nodding our head like this. And it doesn't sound funny because that child will be disturbed. When I get my book, I want to read, I will be sleeping. And maybe that's why I'm not doing well.
So well.
Yeah, he needs to go over to ask questions. What do I do so that I stop nodding my head instead of studying? That's another aspect. Then some of the children in school might just have an idea about a program, saying that they don't know how best to meet up with some subjects. Maybe they hate the teacher, or they have a foreknowledge to say this subject is very difficult, people don't pass it. What am I going to do? Must I do this
subject in point, mathematics?
Yeah, like mathematics. They tell you, no, I don't want. Don't tell me math. But then, working as a school counselor, you find that there are ways you can do it, and the child will really overcome it and become the best of it.
So, from what I understand you have said, guidance and counseling has a lot to do with psychology, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
No. You see, you cannot separate psychology from guidance and counseling. It's interwoven. Like the one I said about mathematics, if I dwell on it, you find that a child will come to school with the impression behind him that he cannot make it mathematically. I've had cause to handle some children. Even I was handled when I was in school because I had that challenge. What I normally do is I will tell the parents, give me a very big notebook. A notebook that can take the exercises from JS1 to JS3 and even SS1 to SS3. And you tell the child, look, maths is very easy. You tell you, no. It's okay. We'll take it like this. I did that for my children too. You take chapter 1, exercise 1A. You have maybe 15 to 20 questions there. The child will do it. We will start practicing like that from chapter 1, exercise 1A to the end, maybe JHI. You go to chapter exercise 2, chapter 2, exercise 1A, 1B, C to K.
That is a lot of time allotted to one child already.
Yes.
Now, with the proliferation of students and pupils in let's take secondary schools, do you think we have enough guidance and counselors, right, to, take on each child who need their, help?
Attention.
Yes. Do we have enough to give enough attention to the children who need, guidance and counseling? Do we have enough of? Because what you're explaining to me, there's something that happened, which, of course, if we have time, I'm going to share with you. It seems as though you spend a lot of time on one child alone, whereas there are many of them who also need, attention.
Yeah.
So how do you cope? And do we have enough guidance and counselors in our schools?
We don't have. We don't have. The Counseling Association of Nigeria will tell you a counselor to about 250 students. But when you come over to the schools, you find that it is just one guidance counselors to maybe 1,000 or 2, depending on the population of the school. But then, the guidance counselor should do the job for which he or she was employed. That is counseling. But you find that when they go over to, when they are employed and they go over to their schools, the principals, because they lack teachers here and there, we ask them to be teaching. No guidance counselor should be teaching any subject in any school.
No guidance and counselor should teach subjects.
Yes.
You think there could be a clash in, you know, discharging their duties?
Yes, there is.
Could you explain a little more on that?
Like when you teach a given subject, you are tagged. Like you find some students, they say, my social studies teacher, social, anti-social, anti-commerce, anti-economics. But when you are there, they are in class, you move around during classes to find out how are they getting tuned to what.
So you do audits, prospective audits in classes. They don't come to you. You go and find the problems and try to solve it.
No, the child can come for counseling on his own volition.
Okay.
The child can be introduced by a teacher. The child can be introduced by a student. His own peers will come to you and say, Auntie, I think Obiora has a problem. You say, Obiora is in what class? They tell you. You go and fish him out. You listen to him. He might come and wouldn't want to open up to you for fear that you might tell people maybe something awful. It is the duty of the counselor to really calm down. In counseling, we don't have that official student-counselor relationship.
Yes,
we are friends to them.
Yes.
We are friends to them. By the time you give him a warm welcome, he will come nearer to you. And once he comes, the relationship is established. And you have to promise him. This is one of the crux of counseling.
Trust.
Crux. That is, you tell him or her, maybe Caroline, say, Caroline, don't be afraid, I'm your friend. The counselor is your friend. Whatever you tell me in this office, outside there, if it's outside you met the child, it's sealed. We talk about
there must be a level of confidentiality and trust.
Very high, serious level of confidentiality.
In your experience as a counselor, guidance counselor, have you had cases of teenage pregnancies that came to your desk, and how did you handle them?
Wow.
Just walk us through maybe one. You don't know, of course, there must be, you wouldn't mention names. Just tell us the story and how you were able to solve that issue.
We don't mention names, we don't mention location.
Location, beautiful.
Like a girl is pregnant and is in school. When you get to find out, she wouldn't come to tell you at times that she's pregnant. At times she will come and say, look, I was abused. I have not seen my menses. I don't know. I'm afraid. Could it be pregnancy? Or some of them might not even know that they've been abused. Not knowing what the sexual act is. We just come and tell you the story of the abuse. You take a look at the child. The first thing you do is you seek medical attention. After you must have taken a chart. When did you see your menses last? You chart it up. What is how many day cycle do you run? If the child, you check the cycle and the menses have not come when it is supposed to have come, the advice, we call it making a referral to a more competent authority.
And if the cycle is not yet due, what do you do?
If the cycle is not yet due, you still go ahead and do it to be sure. Then if, for instance, she has seen her menses, Because some of them will tell you, I have seen it, but it was so painful. It wasn't, it should not, I've not had these cramps before. But the sexual act has taken place. You still seek medical advice. Because during the sexual act, the person could have picked 1 or 2 infections. But then, if for instance you seek the medical advice and pregnancy has occurred, then there is a need to sit the child down and explain actually what has happened to her. You find out who was responsible. Then after that, because if you say you terminate, life is at risk. You say you keep the pregnancy, societal dictates will hook on the child. But then it is wrong to terminate, because if I was terminated, I will not be here today. If you were terminated by your mother or your daddy, you will not be here. So all this to the child. Then you start telling her, I'll bring your parents into this. Because you need permission to bring in the parents. She might not, normally they will tell you, no, don't let them know. It's okay, you'll still be buying time. And you'll be telling her, life is at risk. After maybe 2-3 months, you will not be the same again. People will start knowing, let's know what is going to be. Some of them will tell you, no, I won't terminate. I want to keep this baby, but I don't want to have the baby.
What's the difference? I want to keep the baby, I don't want to have the baby.
I will take the pregnancy. I accept my mistakes, but I can give out the child for adoption. I've had a case where a child said, I will take the I will keep the baby, give birth to the baby, but I have an auntie that does not have a child. I will prefer that she adopts this baby. Then you seek her permission to invite the auntie. Then the parents must know. When it's like that, we look for a place where we can keep the girl until she's due. Then some of them, like culture, will tell you, no, it's not acceptable, and they really want to give her the child. We have the Women Commission.
So at what point does the role of the guardians and counselor stop? You know, because you have mentioned you started from the school, then you invited the parents, meaning the community, and then
No,
at
not
what
community.
point? Okay.
Just the significant other in the life of that
child. So beyond that, do you still collaborate with maybe Ministry of Women Affairs?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that.
You make a formal report to them. The child will now be removed from circulation so that people will know she's pregnant.
On whose financial, you know,
but
who foots the bill?
Occasionally the parents will tell you they want the baby. The parents will foot it. Then if you say you go to Women's Commission, the doctors will be taking care. They have doctors. They have special hospitals. They keep the girl. And when the girl gives birth, the Women's Commission, normally they have some people that must have applied that they need babies to adopt. But then the girl will know that if you give it out like that, you will never ask for that child again. It's well documented. Then if it is the parents keeping the child, when the child comes, the parents will just take the child, then pay the bills of having to keep their daughter until she's due.
All right. As such a child, after delivery and recovery, how is the child reintegrated into the school system?
Well, the fact that she has made that mistake For me, she should go back to school and not thrown off. But if you throw her off, the tendency of becoming pregnant again is there. And it continues like that. But if you take her back to school, she joins the others.
Okay.
Because as we keep them like that, their classmates will not even know what has happened.
So it saves them the trauma of
Yeah. You don't expose
stigma.
her. That stigma, no.
So on the flip side, let's talk about cultism and the role of the guidance and counselor. What has been your experience?
When we talk about really people joining cults, some of them, like when you talk of cult now, I know most people will be talking about higher institutions.
Not just higher institutions.
It's there now in primary school.
Yes.
It's I just want to let people know that cultism has come to stay with us. It's there. We normally have what we call group session, group counseling session, guidance session. The counselor once in a while, depending on the needs of the environment where he or she works. If we have issues of cultism, we make up group session for them, because as you work, you get to find them out. We know them.
What are the indicators that a child is a cultist?
They have their different names now, which they answer. That's the different calls. They have their signs which they make. They have like maybe a tag. Once I see you have that tag, I know we are together. And so on and so forth. But if you are not with them, you might not find out. They have their initiation. They have their slangs and all that. But as a guidance counselor, once you work in a school community or you work in a parastatals where they are, you need to really come down to the nitty-gritties and find out this sign that this person makes, what does it actually mean? We call it non-verbal actions. I just make like this, or I do like this. I know we are together. You understand me, I understand you. Then when we come, we can talk together in our own sign languages, or in our own sign language,
or lingo,
or jingle or something. And the other person might not even understand what we are doing. And occasionally you find the person that is not with us making that same sign, and we'll be laughing because he cannot do it the way we do it.
So is there a case in point that you can, use to, just the way you told us about the teenage pregnancy resolution, how it's been resolved? How do you deal with cultism as a guidance counselor?
You invite them, because they won't come to you. You invite them. Normally, you put yourself into their own shoes. We call it empathy. And you start relating with them. You don't, for instance, tell them it is very bad. No. That's why we empathize with them. And they will be asking you, when will you be initiated? Tell them, if you teach me, I'll come with you. Then if it's like in higher institution, when they want to sail, they tell you they want to sail. Today we are sailing. That's, they have their meetings, they have their initiation. If you are able to find out the location, you can max yourself.
Isn't it a little bit dangerous?
It's not. As a guidance counselor, you know what to do. When you see the thing as it is, the way they do it, you come back to school. You come back with it. You invite them. When you invite them, you start talking about the cult, what they do, and how they do it. they will now accept you as their friend.
Hmm.
And when they do, after a short while, you hit them. We call it confrontation. It's a technique in counseling. And when you do that, you start telling them the evils inherent in what they do and how they do it. When by the time you speak to their consciences, they now start saying, "Hey, how did I get here?" But because within the cult world, they've been told, "There, if you dare think of going out, we will kill you." And what you have to know is that it's not just the child, the adults are involved. That's where they get their money. People supporting them. Then you now take them one after the other. Those ones you find that are sober. "Oh, how did I get here? My God. I was not here before." And you start taking such people. You say, "But if I go, they will kill me. If I don't go for meeting, they will know I'm no longer with them." You start looking for a change of institution for such a child. After you would have ascertained that that child will not go there and start again. Once you make a change of institution, the child is gone.
Now, is it possible? Do guidance and counselors, do they run clinics for rehabilitation of some sort? Tell us about that, because you just mentioned that after you've ascertained the child will not go to another institution and start with the same, cultism, activities, cultist activities, then you can seek admission in another school. Now, assuming there are people who need rehabilitation before they seek another school, is there a clinic or an arrangement where a child is counseled?
Within the counselor's office, we have clinics.
Good.